Hello everyone, my name is Sugar Geek, and welcome to my very first theory video. This one will be about Five Nights at Freddy's. I'm sorry for the quality of the video. This is the first time I've ever made anything like this. With that out of the way, let's begin. It all started with the very first restaurant called Fredbear's Family Diner. This location featured Fredbear and Spring Bonnie as the mascots. Both mascots were spring suits. They doubled as animatronic and wearable suit. The diner most likely opened in the late 60s or early 1970s. We know this from Phone Guy's comment about the animatronics being 20 years old in FNAF 1 that was in 1993. It's during this time the Take Cake to the Children minigame happens. Purple Guy, yes, Purple Guy. There's only one killer. Pink Guy doesn't exist. Purple Guy comes to the diner and murders a child who was outside crying. He drives away, leaving the body behind. This child later on possesses the puppet or the marionette. I want to point out that I think this is definitely the diner and not a Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Having the murder take place at the diner gives it a reason to close and for the owners to sell. There wouldn't be a reason for Phone Guy to mention the diner in FNAF 2 unless something happened there. I acknowledge that the bear we see is brown instead of yellow, but in these minigames, they are never 100% accurate and are just representations of what's going on. The location also only shows just the one animatronic, unlike many others that feature more animatronics. Not only that, the bear is handing children cake. A robot can't do that, but a person in a suit can. So this murder must have given the diner a bad rep, and the owner sold the diner and the Fredbear name to someone else who created Fazbear Entertainment. In 1973, the new mascots, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy are created. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza becomes a popular restaurant that has multiple locations. All the locations also feature the classic spring suits too. All locations are built with a room that is off camera that is also invisible to the animatronics that are called the safe room. A cartoon called Fredbear and Friends is created in 1983. This is when the Missing Children's Incident, or the MCI, happened. I truly believe this is the importance of the TV in FNAF 4. There is no bite of 83. Sorry, the mangled toy disproves the bite of 83 by itself. It's there to show us when the MCI happened. The newspaper in FNAF 1 gives us the date June 26th, but not the year. We have a year for just about everything else in FNAF, but not this probably most important event. It would make sense for this event to have a year, especially since the date itself is provided. Notice in the MCI newspapers it says that a cartoon mascot was used to lure the kids. In FNAF 4, we see this cartoon, Fredbear and Friends. By this, we also learn what suit Purple Guy used. The only wearable mascot shown in Fredbear and Friends is Fredbear. So on the night of June 26, 1983, Purple Guy comes to the restaurant and dresses in a Fredbear suit. I do not think Purple Guy is an employee at this time because he's not seeing the yellow badge like he is later on. He lures the 5 kids into the safe room and murders them after everyone has left, as the Foxy Go minigame portrays. Later on, the puppet finds the dead bodies and puts them inside the animatronics, and they possess the animatronics, as shown in the Give Gifts, Give Life minigame and the FNAF 2 cutscenes. One thing that is strange about the minigames is Golden Freddy. He's in the Give Gift, Give Life's minigame at the last second, but he doesn't receive a gift, and he's not shown that the puppet put the yellow bear mask on the body. I think it's possible here that Purple Guy was the one who put the child in the Fredbear suit. It's possibly as some sort of calling card or something like that. Or maybe he took the body and disposed of it in another way. We really can't say for sure, but what we do know is that Golden Freddy is different. I personally think Golden Freddy is just the ghost of the Fredbear suit used to lure the kids. There is no separate Golden Freddy suit. I mean, why have 2 yellow bear spring suits? They're practically the same thing. I think it's just unnecessary. So shortly after the murders, an investigation started. The newspapers tell us that the murderer was caught on camera and he was arrested. But we know the bodies were never found. By comparing the Foxy Go minigame to the FNAF 1 layout, that area the children were in was off camera. and the safe room has no camera. You can't really have a murder investigation without bodies or some proof the kids were actually murdered. They may be able to convict Purple Guy for endangerment or something like that, but not murder. Technically, those kids are only missing. Purple Guy would get away with the murder, but he is still a criminal since he was arrested. Now remember this is important for later on. This is most likely when the restaurants start having night guards. I mean, what kind of restaurant has night guards? Doesn't really make any sense. But it does if you want to prevent murders from happening at night. So they start hiring night guards. Soon after the murders, the animatronics begin to leak blood and mucus, which causes the restaurant to close for health code violations. So 4 years later, in 1987, a new restaurant is built. The old building was left to rot. They take the animatronics with them to reuse, but after realizing that they were ugly and smelly, from the dead bodies, the new toy animatronics are created. Toy Freddy, Toy Bonnie, Toy Chica, Toy Foxy or Funtime Foxy, and Balloon Boy. The toys have facial recognition technology that is tied to a criminal database to help them prevent future accidents or murders. They also have the ability to walk around freely during the day. The withered animatronics are kept just for spare parts. The puppet and the classic spring suits are brought to this location. Now you might think I'm crazy, but notice that there's a child's drawing of a yellow bear in the FNAF 2 office. A child's not going to draw a picture of something he doesn't know about. So that bear must have been used at some point at the location for a child to draw a picture of him with the bear singing. The location opens to the public in the summer of 1987. We know this because Phone Guy welcomes the second night guard to his summer job. We know that Toy Foxy was put into Kids Cove, but the young children took it apart every day, so that eventually it just became known as the Mangle. Purple Guy was hired as the very first night guard. I can safely say that he would have changed his name and his appearance so he wouldn't be recognized. The withered animatronics start to come after him at night since they're possessed, and the toys also start trying to get into his office. Why? It's because of the facial recognition. Purple Guy is still a criminal, so the toys would recognize him and come after him. Purple Guy begins to complain, and eventually they move him to day shift. It's most likely on his last night as a night guard, he commits his next set of murders. He again wears a Fredbear suit and begins to snatch away little children and bring them to the safe room. He kills them once the place is closed, leaving blood all over the building as seen in the Save Them minigame. The puppet tries to stop Purple Guy with Freddy's help, but we know that they can't. We don't know what happened to the bodies. Purple Guy probably disposed of them in some way. One thing we do know is that they were not stuffed into the toy animatronics. I mean, seriously, how do you stuff a child inside Mangle? Purple Guy then moves to day shift, and a new night guard is hired. This is when Phone Guy makes his training tapes. Yes, the tapes are pre-recorded from the summer. Even though the bodies weren't stuffed inside the toys still become possessed. I don't think simply saying the toys were tampered with explains all of their strange behavior. They try to kill you. They climb on the ceilings and the vents, they remove their eyes and beaks, and they try to kill you. We also know the toys were only aggressive towards the staff, not children. If they're only tampered with, wouldn't they be aggressive toward everyone? Also, if they're only tampered with, wouldn't the technicians be able to fix them? But the toys were never fixed. There's just way more evidence pointing to them being possessed. Now back to Purple Guy. While he was busy snatching up children at the FNAF 2 location, he didn't notice that someone saw him. A young child was watching him. Yes, I'm talking about the crying child from FNAF 4. Now, FNAF 4 and FNAF 2 happened around the same time. The restaurant opened in the summer, like I said earlier, and we know that FNAF 4 takes place in the summer from the flowers, the clothing the children are wearing, and the fact that these children are out and not in school. We know he saw something that made him afraid of Fredbear catching him. Now I say Fredbear because a child's fear seems to be more focused on Fredbear rather than Spring Bonnie. The child now fears going to the restaurant. This isn't helped by his bully older brother scaring him with the head of his Foxy plushie and taking him to the restaurant and leaving him behind. Now speaking of the plushies, The crying child calls the plushies his friends. I don't think he's just saying that he likes his toys. I think the animatronics are his friends. Back when the child saw Purple Guy, how did he get away? I think he went into the parts room where the withered animatronics are kept. This is probably how he became friends with the animatronics. This is why the Fredbear plush talks to him. The Fredbear plush is Golden Freddy. It's the most obvious choice since it's a golden bear. Why would any other animatronic manifest themselves as Golden Freddy? Now, the Fredbear plush is like his best friend. Now notice that the Fun with Plush Trap and Balloon Boy minigames, their layout matches up with the layout of the party rooms in the FNAF 2 layout. The chair that Balloon Boy or Plush Trap sits in is the office, and the X on the ground is right next to the parts room. Now if the gameplay of FNAF 4 is about the bite, why not have the minigame beforehand be about what initially terrified him? Now I want to point out, this is when the FNAF 3 phone calls happen. I know most say they happen around the time of the MCI, but please hear me out. One of the surprises of FNAF 4 was seeing spring suits still in use. We see employees wearing them. So what if the Springlock failures hadn't happened yet? After the FNAF 4 Night 3 minigame, we never see the employees wearing them again. We later see spring suits taken apart in the safe room as if a technician was looking at them. What if this is meant to show us the Springlock failures just happened? At a different location, of course. The employee wearing the suit was killed. I believe it was a Spring Bonnie suit that failed. And that the employee became Shadow Bonnie. Because of the failures, every location had to stop wearing spring suits to prevent future accidents. Now, back to the FNAF 3 phone calls. We have an example of what can be the Springlock failures, seeing those spring suits in the safe room in FNAF 4. We also learn that a customer was taken into the safe room. That can apply to the Save Them murders and or the bite victim when he was locked in the safe room during the Night 5 minigame. We'll pick back up to the phone calls later on. Let's get back to the crying child himself. Now, on his birthday, his older brother and his bully friends pick him up and put him into Fredbear's mouth as a joke. Fredbear bit the child, crushing his head. This is the bite of 87. I want to point out this was not a Springlock failure because the Springlocks are only activated in suit mode. During the bite, Fredbear was in animatronic mode. The Springlocks had nothing to do with the bite since they were not activated. His tears did not do anything. It was Fredbear's moving mouth that caused the bite. The child was taken to the hospital, of course. We know this from the pills, IV drop, and flower Easter eggs that show up during the gameplay. He was most likely in a coma while in the hospital. During that time, he was tormented by nightmares of the bite. He envisioned the bullies as terrifying animatronics. The child dies about a week later. We definitely play as a child himself and not as a brother during the gameplay. From the terrifying animatronics to the height of the player to the childish design of the bedroom, everything points to the bite victim being the character we play as. Before his death, the brother apologized, and the puppet, not the Fredbear plushie, speaks to him. We know someone else is speaking because of the text color. The Fredbear plushie always speaks in a golden text color. This text color is a creamy yellow color. Now, I want to say this is not that little girl we see during the minigame. She does have the same text color, but that doesn't mean it's the same person. The context does not match up, and also two other young children during that minigame have the same text color. Does that mean they're the same person? No, we just know that this last speaker is different from the Fredbear plushie. I can safely say this last speaker is the puppet from the context. He says, "I will put you back together." We know it's the puppet's job to do that. He puts the children back together. He gives them life. So the big question is, who does the bite victim possess? Now, this video is getting really long, so I'm going to have to pick this up later on. I'm sorry for the cliffhanger, but I'll be sure to have the next video up very shortly. And please like and subscribe so you won't miss the next video when it comes out. Have a great day, everyone, and I will see you next time.